Welcome to today's Explainer. We're about to totally shatter some of those basic preconceived notions you might have about one of nature's absolute most iconic predators. We all have that storybook image of the owl sitting in a tree, right? Well, scratch that, because that standard image barely even scratches the surface. Get ready to shift your perspective from the highest tree branches to, well, literally the ground right beneath our feet. Okay, let's dive into this. Our source material gives us basically the perfect roadmap here. Quoting, "Owls are far more than the wide-eyed birds they appear to be." I mean, when we look at an owl, the very first thing that grabs us is, for sure, those massive forward-facing eyes. They give them this almost human-like expression, like they're in a state of constant surprise or maybe just deep wisdom. But that surface-level appearance, it's essentially this brilliant disguise for a highly complex, fiercely adapted biological machine. Trust me, there's so much more than just a wide-eyed stare. To truly grasp their adaptability, you just have to look at their massive global footprint. We're talking about an absolute global phenomenon. They are found on every single continent on Earth, with just one solitary exception, and that's Antarctica. So what does this actually mean? It means these predators have successfully engineered a way to survive and honestly thrive in wildly diverse habitats. Whether they're navigating the super dense canopies of towering forests or toughing it out in the harsh, barren expanses of arid deserts, owls have pretty much conquered the entire globe. And hey, you don't achieve that kind of geographical dominance without some seriously major biological advantages. Section 1, Anatomy of a Hunter. So to figure out exactly how they dominate all those different environments, we kind of need to zoom in from the macro level of where they live right down to the micro level of how their bodies are actually built. And this brilliantly illustrates their unbelievable evolutionary engineering, starting with their flat facial discs. We usually just think of an owl's face as being, delightfully flat, kind of like they flew into a window a bit too fast, but actually scratch that. That shape is a highly, highly specialized biological tool. Their faces are literally structured to act like living satellite dishes. These flat discs capture incoming sound waves and channel them directly into their ears, which gives them this hypersensitive form of hearing. So they aren't just looking for prey, they are listening to their environment with a level of precision that is honestly hard to even wrap your head around. But that auditory satellite dish on their face, that's just one piece of a giant puzzle. They've got those famous forward-facing eyes, but here's the catch. They are permanently fixed in their sockets. Unlike you or me, an owl absolutely cannot dart its eyes left or right. No way. So to compensate for this fixed stare, nature gave them remarkably flexible necks. That's what allows for that iconic, maybe slightly unsettling mechanical head-turning motion. And finally, when they do lock onto a target, they have these soft-edged feathers that completely dampen the sound of air rushing over their wings. It grants them near-silent flight. They are, without a doubt, the ultimate stealth hunters. Section 2, the Florida burrowing owlet. All right, we've spent the first half of this explainer looking at the general overarching rules of being an owl. But you know what? Nature absolutely loves an exception. Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is how it perfectly captures that contrast. Typically, owls nest high up in trees and are famously nocturnal, right? Total creatures of the night. Well, the burrowing owl completely flips that script. Instead of trees, they live out in open landscapes. Instead of the high canopy, they nest entirely underground. And rather than waiting for darkness, this little bird is actually highly active right in the middle of the day. It is just an extraordinary departure from the standard owl playbook. This particular rebel bird is a distinct subspecies of the burrowing owl, and it has adapted perfectly to its ground-level environment down in Cape Coral, Florida. Notice its compact build paired with relatively long legs. Those legs, they are specifically designed for a life spent walking and running on the earth, rather than just gripping onto tree branches. If you were to see one standing there, all alert among the wildflowers, you might be totally struck by its incredibly delicate appearance. But do not let that fool you for a second. Just like its forest-dwelling cousins, this bird remains a highly skilled, really ruthless ground hunter. Instead of diving from the canopy, it just uses its environment, scanning its surroundings for prey from low perches right near the entrance to its underground burrow. Section 3, Nature's Ecosystem Balancers. So, let's zoom back out for a second. Whether it's a massive, silent phantom gliding through a dense forest or a long-legged day-walking owlet hanging out outside a burrow, they all share one incredibly vital purpose. So the crucial point is, they are absolutely essential for maintaining ecosystem balance. As apex predators, they're the ones keeping rodent and insect populations in check. Honestly, without them diligently hunting, whether that's in the dead of night from a tree branch or in broad daylight from a low perch near a burrow, the delicate balance of our global ecosystems would quickly begin to unravel. They're basically essential custodians of the natural world. Which leaves us with this final, kind of lingering thought. We started out today thinking we knew exactly what an owl was. Then we met the burrowing owl, a bird with long legs that literally lives underground and hunts in the bright sunshine. So, if an owl can thrive underground in the daylight, what other established rules of nature are out there, right now, just waiting to be broken? It's wild to think about. Let that question spark your curiosity to keep exploring the incredible, surprising world around us. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and always keep questioning what you think you know.